Hey friends, I hope that you are all having a wonderful week. Today we are going to talk about money. Now, I know that the topic of money can often be really uncomfortable, but just know that you're among friends. I'm definitely letting it all hang out. I feel like, as someone who talks a lot about mindset and works with entrepreneurs, that requires a lot of vulnerability. And so I'm always up for being vulnerable myself, talking about what's worked for me, what hasn't worked for me, and answering questions and sharing really an inside look at how things have been, because I know that I think that that is really helpful, especially because a lot of times as we are having our online businesses, we see a lot of posts on Instagram or Facebook, and we're really getting to see the highlight, or we're getting to see where someone is based on how much work they've done to get there, but you don't often get to see the work. So I love being able to share things with you inside of this group and really have like open conversations. So for those of you that are joining me live, I appreciate it. I'd love to read a comment and give some feedback for other people that may watch this video, because as I said, money can often be a very uncomfortable topic. So if you have ever had a time in your life where you were struggling to make money in your business, leave me a comment. For me, I will just raise my hands and say 1,000%. 1,000%. So, my money journey, I guess you would say, learning how to make money in my business, my very first business, which was a design studio, it took a little time. And the funny thing is that in my particular case, I started off really strong. I had some collaborations. So I was working for Anthropology as a user interface designer, which I know is really nerdy. And I was also working with my own clients. And so that was a really great start for me. But then there was a place in that journey where I wasn't doing so well, because I was only depending on referrals, and that only got me to a certain point. And then I would have lots of times where I would make really good money, and then I wouldn't have as good of a month, and it was wreaking havoc on me. I was so stressed out. Have any of you ever felt this way, where it's just that feast or famine mode, and you almost don't let yourself get excited about a good month because you don't know if it's going to be that way the next month. And it reminds me a lot of waiting tables, because that's how I put myself through college. And it was the same thing. You'd have a really great night and you'd think, yes, I've got a little padding here, or I can, go do this thing that I want to do, or buy that school book or whatever it was. And then sure enough, it would be another shift where nobody came in and you weren't making any money. So that kind of feast or famine, that up cycle, down cycle, can be really hard, right? Because especially as an entrepreneur, you're very attached to your business. You're really putting yourself out there, right? You're dependent on that business, and it can feel really personal. And I think for anyone, regardless of what your history is, what your money story is, any of those kinds of things, I think that brings with it its own sort of, we'll say baggage, but if you want to put a positive spin on it, it brings a lot of opportunity for you to figure some things out, because those types of the kind of mindset that you need to consistently make money, it's almost like building a muscle. Because in your business, you're going to have good months, you're going to have months that are not as good. Now, your good months and bad months may be someone else's amazing month, but it still brings up that what if, it still brings up that feeling. So maybe some months you make $10,000, maybe some months you only make 4 or 5. And there's another person who would be like, I would be so thrilled if I only made 4 or 5, right? So it can be a lot of different things, but the point is that the mindset behind that, the fear that comes up, the self-doubt, the imposter syndrome, the feeling like you're not worthy enough, all of these type of things are going to come up, because it's something that's not really going to go away. Like, making more money isn't going to solve it. It's not going to solve that for you. So what I wanted to do today was share with you how I hit my first 10K month. But what I want you to know is that it's not about the number. As I just explained, you can have the same stuff come up whether you are a 6-figure boss or you're just starting your business. It can be all the same. And that's one of the things that I have learned along the way. And I think that My personal story is something that so many of you can relate to. So as I'm telling it, if this resonates with you, let me know so I can just support you more and kind of know where you are. And if you have overcome some of these yourself, then drop some helpful hints in the group so that other people can learn from where you've been, because we all want to get to our best version of our business, right? Whatever that looks like for you. So it's not about the money. It's definitely not about the $10,000. So, um, as I mentioned, I had a really good start off to my business, and then it was just kind of normal, a little bit up, a little bit down, but then there were other times where it was like way up here and way down here. And it didn't matter because it was the inconsistency that was like killing me inside, right? I felt like, oh God, maybe I'm not supposed to do this. My husband would try to have conversations with me, and this is really the conversation. If he was here, he would be like, oh my gosh, yes. He would just say stuff to me like, hey, how you doing on money? And he's asking because he wants to know if he needs to give me some money, if he needs to pay some bills and that kind of thing. And I would get so upset because I was embarrassed. I didn't want him to know. I didn't want, even though he has been my biggest cheerleader this whole entire time, I was embarrassed. I felt like I wasn't, um, I guess my self worth was so attached to it. Like I had this really great job before, and then I gave it all up and burned it all down to start this business. And I, on the inside, just felt so upset when he would ask me that because I didn't want to tell him that I wasn't doing so great. Because not, I knew he wouldn't judge me. I knew he would support me, but it just felt so bad in here. Do you guys know what I mean? So I didn't want to share that. And I would just start to obsess. So this is the thing, I would obsess. I would stay up at night and I would rewrite all of my bills, and I would write down how much money I thought I was going to make and like who my hot leads were, and just obsess on the money all the time, especially when things weren't going well. And I just remember saying this to myself so many times, writing it down of like, well, if I only make $3,000 a month, that's enough to for me to contribute to my family financially. Like that's enough. That's all I need right now. And just like harping on it, thinking about it all the time. And I would hear people talk about manifesting and the law of attraction and all these type of things, and they're like, what you focus on expands. And of course, I was thinking about money all the time and not always getting more money. And I thought, well, how do you not obsess over money when you literally have to have it to live, right? It seems very, very important, and I just could never really grasp that concept. So my business was growing. I started using digital marketing. I started an Instagram account. I got on Facebook. I was very late in the game because I was very uncomfortable with the whole thought of it, which you would probably be surprised to know about now. But I did all of those things and my business started growing. And I was kind of alternating between like $6,000 to $8,000 a month, which I was really happy with, right? And even as I say that now, I think, like, why are you such a Looney Tune? Because even though I was making, six, seven, $8,000 a month, I was still freaking out all the time. I was still sitting up with my notebook because I never thought it was going to last. So there wasn't that. That's a mindset thing because I couldn't trust enough. Like even when the money was showing up, I didn't trust it enough. I didn't trust myself. I didn't think that I was deserving of it. I just felt like the other shoe was going to drop. This is never going to last. And I just like harped on money all the time. It was ridiculous. I spent a whole lot of energy doing that because I wanted to feel secure and I wanted to feel safe. Can you guys relate to that? Just like wanting to feel that your business is keeping you safe and secure. So, fast forward a bit of time, and we are in our first month of RVing full time. It's crazy, it's stressful, everything is new, and I am rushing around to try to get the camper like all shut down for travel mode to go to our next campsite, which was going to be quite a long drive. It was like my first big drive. And I was trying to finish up some last minute emails. It was about lunchtime, and I realized that I had invoiced over $10,000 that month. And I just sat there like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this, because it felt like such a huge milestone for me. And then I just spent some time to like sit in it and think like, how do I feel about this? And how did this happen? And this is amazing and everything. And what I realized is that I had been so busy the last couple of months trying to pack up we in about 30 days, we sold our house, packed up everything we owned or got rid of it, bought a camper, and set out on this adventure. So it all happened really fast. And I didn't have time to think about money. I didn't have time to freak out all the time, right? And it finally clicked with me. That's when it finally clicked that it was the holding so tightly to it all the time that was making it not happen. So I think about it like, if you accept the fact that God, the universe, source, whatever, only wants your highest and best good for you, then there's no reason why you shouldn't have the things that you want, right? There's no reason. And I'm talking about like money and business and being able to serve people and being able to support people. Like, why would the universe not want you to have that? It's not sitting over there with like all of your abundance going, you can't have this, like you don't deserve it. But we worry about it and we obsess about it. Why is this not happening? And we can even go over the list in our heads. I'm doing all of these things. Like, why is this not happening for me? And it feels personal, right? Doesn't it feel personal? Have you ever gotten to a point in your business where you feel like angry at it? Like it's a person, like, why are you doing this to me? That might just be me, but it can feel really personal. But if you accept that the universe wants your highest good and all you're trying to do is put more good into the world, it doesn't make sense that it wouldn't be for you. And I always picture it like when I'm grasping and I see myself doing that again, I always think about, the universe is sitting there like, okay, we're just waiting for you. As long as you want to do it your way, we'll just sit here and hold this for you. But when you're ready to let us do what we do, just let me know, right? And I really think that's how it is, because when you've heard what you focus on expands, the focusing and obsessing on money is coming from that place of I'm not deserving, there's not enough, I've got to survive, right? Like I've got to grasp this, I've got to survive. And it's controlling and it's restrictive. And you may feel like, well, how can I not think about this? Because it's really important. I'm literally trying to feed my family here. But it's in that controlling versus that trust, and that's the real thing. So once it actually happened to me and I actually let go a little bit and the money showed up, it just finally clicked for me. So that was one thing. The second thing that I realized was I can do this. It was the confidence of, instead of feeling like I was always at the mercy of whatever referral I got and whatever, person I was talking to on Instagram, it felt like I can do this. I can do it. So it created a level of trust and a level of confidence that this is on me. This is my business. I get to decide how much money I make. It's up to me. It's nobody else. Nobody else is keeping me from this. Nobody's doing anything. The only person that's getting in my way is me. And if I can do this once, I can do it again. So those are the two big things that I really learned from this whole experience. And I really just wanted to share and talk about it in a more personal way, because I feel like lots of people must feel the way I feel. So if you've ever felt any of these things, put it in the comments so I'll know that it's not just me, because I have a feeling that it's not, and that there are other people watching this who have really felt the same way. So it took getting so busy that I didn't have time to think or do anything at all for me to let go. And in the letting go, not only did I get what I wanted, but I created a lot of trust and self-confidence within myself to know that, hey, I can do this and I can do it again and again. and to really grasp that concept of what you focus on expands and how you're supposed to detach yourself from the result. And I will just tell you that trust is the hardest thing for me, right? I'm a type A person. I like to feel like I'm in control. I have a hard time with just trusting things, right? I kind of have to get in there and do things myself. So spiritually, that's always the hardest part for me. And this was a huge, huge lesson. And not only that, but when I think about things that I want to manifest, when I think about how I ended up burning that business to the ground, that's really dramatic. I really just decided to do something different. But in the starting over, it was another good lesson to carry on from one place to the other, is that that's really how it works. There has to be a level of trust within yourself and for the people that you surround yourself with. There has to be a trust if you are wanting the universe, God, source to show up for you. There has to be some trust. It's not you telling them how you want them to show up and how exactly you want everything to happen, because that is often contradictory. And in that contradiction, that's where people are sitting there thinking, this doesn't work. Why isn't this happening for me? Why isn't this happening to me? All of those kind of things. But if you can accept that everything is happening for you, you can really develop a level of trust and peace. And that's what detaching from the result means. That's what it means to really let go, to not try to squeeze something so tightly that you're like, this is exactly how it's going to happen and what it has to be like, and all of those things. And then the other thing that I would add, just as we talk about manifesting and creating, and manifest means to create. So creating more money inside of your business is to really think about why you want the money, because you may be focusing on trying to create and control, maybe a little bit of both, the wrong thing. If it's really about the feeling successful, the security, and just knowing that you can get clients, it's not so much about the amount of clients or the amount of money from the clients. That's really going to change what you're going to call in. And in doing that, a lot of times you can release some of that control and feel really good about it. Because if you were like me and you're obsessing about how much money you're pulling in, when yes, you want money, but really you want to feel like you're in control of your business and you know how to get clients, those two things can be different, and the universe can show up for you in different ways. If it's just about the money, you may receive a check in the mail, you may get a really good income tax return. But if it's about clients, then that's never really going to make you feel better. So thinking about your intention is always, for me, I believe, really key in where you're putting your focus, of course, where you're putting your energy, what you're calling in. And if you like this conversation and you're seeing how you may have some of your own things that are presenting themselves as blocks, whether it's focusing on the money or trying to control something, or any of those type of things, I highly encourage you to sign up for the challenge that I'm hosting right here in this group. So really easy. You don't have to do anything but show up, but you can also get it delivered to your email if you prefer that. But it's called From Blocked to Booked. And I know that mindset is friggin' huge for entrepreneurs, right? It is hard to put yourself out there. It is hard to deal with feast or famine, like all of those things. And so we are going to identify where you're blocked in your business, get to the root of what the block is actually about, so that you're able to release it and act, right? So take action that is going to get you some different results. So it's going to be really, really fun. It's the second week in November, and I'll put the link here just in case you want to get all that delivered to your inbox. I personally love that, and you might too. So you can do that, or all you have to do is just show up here in this group and everything will be here. So thank you all for all of you that joined me live, or if you're watching the replay, still feel good. It would still be nice for you to comment, just so that other people can see that they're not alone if they have some of these issues, I hate to say issues, but if they've had some of these feelings and things like that about money too. And let me know if you have any questions.